It's all about the process, step by step. Today, you can start successfully in your business by using a proven process that works. Welcome to the Start Successfully podcast, where veteran entrepreneur Gabe Arnold shares his proven step-by-step process, the process you need to start successfully in any business. And now, here's your host, Gabe Arnold.
All right. Hey, everybody. I am really excited. This is episode 6 of the Start Successfully podcast. And wherever you're tuning in from today, I appreciate you all, you guys and girls, and everybody that's listening. This journey has been a lot of fun for me so far. I can't believe that we're 6 weeks into this, which is longer than I've ever gone before with doing something. So I hope that the value and the consistency is something that helps you today to start successfully in your business. And last week, we actually did part 1 of my interview with James and Gary from Team IBB. And it just really, I originally wanted to have them on to talk about branding because they've just done an incredible job of branding themselves locally in their marketplace and doing something that, was really difficult because of the industry that they were in. And to just kind of give you an example, on this first segment, part 1 of this interview, we talked a lot about entrepreneurship and just the struggles and their history and all that, which was good. But the original reason that I had them on was that, if you were to imagine that myself, Gabe, I'm not, but if you were to imagine that I was a life insurance salesman or an investment advisor or financial advisor, if you know anybody in those industries, you know that there's a lot of regulation, there's a lot of challenges, there's a lot of difficulty when it comes to marketing because of the high regulation in the industry. And so if I was in that position, I was somebody who, was working in a difficult kind of regulated industry, I think I'd be discouraged about branding and advertising and all the things that you want to do, but you feel like you can't because of industry regulations. So I just share that because I think that both James and Gary have learned, in spite of all the challenges that they've faced in their entrepreneurial journey, they've learned how to brand in spite of some of the challenges that they face in their business and their industry. And that's why I originally had them on. But in the first hour of our interview, we talked about so many other things that I just felt were so valuable I didn't want to cut those out. And so in today's episode, part 2 of it, we'll be talking about how to brand successfully, what you need to do to really create a brand that you believe in. And it's something that I learned a ton from. I honestly, at the end of the interview, I told them like, hey, where do I send the check? This is, I did this almost selfishly just to learn about branding myself. And they really, 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 gave me a lot of insight. And both Gary and James, just really insightful, wise guys who know a lot about what it takes to successfully brand. And so, as always, I'm going to share with you a quote, and this episode as well, it is going to be, from the episode, because I think these guys have a lot of insight. And I'll actually share 2 things that really stood out to me. So, the first one is, who are you and why should I trust you? And that was something that James said during the interview that really stood out to me as kind of a question. That's kind of the brand question that your consumers or your prospects or those that want to be a part of your community are asking in their head, consciously or subconsciously. And then the second one is, if you want to be a successful brand, you need to become it. And that is another one that James shared with us. So if you want to just dive in, this episode is going to be really valuable. Take a lot of notes, apply it to your own life, to your own business, to your own brand, and I'm sure that you will get a lot of value from it. So right after this break, we'll get right into it.
This episode is brought to you by Copywriter Today. With Copywriter Today, you get a team of dedicated writers working for you on your content marketing needs. Get your email marketing, blog posting, white paper, sales copy, lead magnets, and so much more, written by professional writers that really understand how to drive your business. Copywriter Today is a one-stop solution, a subscription-based service with a low monthly cost. To get started now with a special offer just for you, visit copywritertoday.com/start successfully. That's copywritertoday.com/start successfully.
He was getting promotion after promotion after promotion. He was, running Mr.
running, you got a
GQ
bunch
banker.
of people. Yeah, that's right. Just being the man. And I was, so same thing. I'm like, Gary, you need a brand, bro. Like, you need a brand, man. Like, if you're going to come back, man, you're going to run your own business, you got a brand. And, so like,
Yeah, he was telling me to get my own. And I was like,
so I'm telling him.
all right.
And so I'm like, and I was like, what makes you different, Gary? And then Gary, you take it away.
So he was trying to break me down and put me through the same process, how this branding has changed his life.
Trying to make a man.
And yeah, he was trying to
get you to body slam him in the ring.
Fired up, man.
Oh, yeah. So he asked me, what drives you crazy? What makes you different? And he's telling me his story, and when he's sitting down with Constantine and how he broke him down all the way to the point to where he told me about his family.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, okay. I'm like, well, something like that happened to me. And just like how James was saying, it's very relatable. Like somebody knows somebody that's been taken advantage of or, been screwed over, whatever you want to call it. Like my mother got taken advantage of and actually had to go back to work for 6.5 more years. So that's why I work as hard as I can, because I saw how hard it was for her to work third shift at the hospital raising 2 boys on single income. So I never want to have to see anybody struggle like that. And I don't want to do that. I don't want that to be the life for my daughter or my wife or anybody that I know and care about. So it was funny because James said,
what was my answer? Do you remember my answer after you told me that?
Your story is better than mine.
Yeah, I was like, your IBB is better than my IBB. Like, what the heck, man?
No, I remember that you told me that, James, and I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. And I was like, that makes sense. And then I remember when Gary told me, and like, he wasn't crying, but I felt like he wasn't tearing up, but like I'm pretty, as an introvert, I'm very like emotionally aware, I feel like. So I felt like that he was like tearing up inside. He was telling me about his mom and like how hard it was, and like that really hit home with me. And I was like, I've been burned and hurt in things like that, not on necessarily the exact same front like what you guys have talked about, but the same thing. And I was like, wow, this guy gets it. Like his family's been through something hard at least, and that really stuck out. And I think something that you just said a minute ago, James, is like a huge takeaway, and that something that I'm going to apply in a huge way myself, and I think everybody listening should too. And you said, what makes me different makes me relatable. Right. I think that's if you think about that, it's kind of like it's a weird statement because
it's like an oxymoron sort of.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it does. Yeah.
But that like really rings true, because I'm reading a Tim Ferriss book right now called Tools of Titans, and I can't remember who said this because it's like 600 interviews. It's like, this is like my goal in 10 years, you guys will be in my book. But one of the people they interviewed said they were like a comedy writer or something, and they said, if you don't feel like you're walking completely naked down Fifth Avenue in New York, then your writing is not honest enough. And it reminds me of what you just said, because all of us try to like keep our act together and look like
put your vulnerability out there.
Right, like we're trying to be pro and like keep our act together and look like we know what we're doing, but in reality, the best way to brand or relate to people or like achieve success is just to let go and like be vulnerable and like say
a human being,
right,
man. You
right.
know what I'm saying? Like that, I think. That's what it. We grow up, like we grow up and we get, whether it's your 9-to-5 job or you go into business. Especially when you go in your business for yourself, it's like you realize how cutthroat the world is, and you know what I'm saying? Like
right.
When people are like, "Oh yeah, I'll
I'll support you," not really.
Yeah. But you you move mountains for people,
Mhm.
And then it's one thing. Just tell me you're not going to pay me. Or just tell me you're not. Tell me you're going to disappear. For
just be
6
upfront
months,
about it.
like,
yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So like you start to realize like, wow, like not everybody's honest. Like not everybody means what they say, and not everyone is going to follow through on their word and keep their promises.
Right.
And it's like it's heartbreaking because I feel like for the most part you kind of have this bubble that you live in where the world's a honky-dory place where
it's a beautiful place,
everything works out eventually, and people just buy houses because that's what you do, and people just have families because that's what you do. You know what I'm saying? Like, I didn't realize there's so. I mean, I'm more prepared now than I than my parents ever were. Like, I'm having my first child at the same age my dad had his fourth. You know what I'm saying? And we had a great life, and we had we had no complaints. We were
that's
we had
a crazy thought.
You know what I'm saying? So, but here I am, like I'm freaking out, like I'm up, having a kid, like what do I do? So, but it's
right.
it's just sorry. I just I feel like there's not enough talk about it's going to suck. All you got to do is fail,
sometimes.
But guess what?
Yeah.
That is you're gonna have failure for breakfast, failure for lunch, and and
twice
like
for dinner. Yeah.
You're gonna put failure in your Slim Fast. I don't know if anybody still remembers Slim Fast. Like Slim Fast for breakfast. Slim Fast.
Yeah.
Think of your Slim Fast as your failure shake. You know what I'm saying? And maybe you get to eat dinner if you have time, because by the way, you're gonna be working till 11 p.m.
Yeah.
And
if you get to go to bed early at 11, right? Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right.
So sorry.
So no
rant. Have your failure shake. That's all about drinking your failure shake and having a sensible dinner, and you'll have a great life.
Have a sensible dinner.
No, so that's good. No, so that's the IBB brand, and I think it's been interesting to watch and knowing the backstory. I mean, being able to talk to a real branding expert, I think that it's the same thing in every part of life or business or whatever. There's the people that say, "Oh, I'm an expert in this," and then there's the people that are experts in that. And it's really your other kind of piece of wise advice, James, which is why all this is happening and why you are where you are today, is that for whatever reason, you were smart enough to realize that all I have to do is buy a little bit of time or invest a little bit of money or invest, maybe it's the last $100 I have for the week, or maybe I don't know where my next deal is coming from, but I'm going to buy the best advice that I can. And if everybody going into business, thought that way, because this is the Start Successfully podcast. I want to give people shortcuts to not everybody needs to fail and learn, and like that's great, but like if you just listen to what James is saying, if you just listen to what the experts in whatever industry you want to go into, for everybody listening, if you just do what they say, it's so much easier, instead of like, oh, I'm going to invent a new way, because that's not that's not always good advice. Don't
invent a new. I don't know. Like you
don't invent a new wheel. We already have wheels.
Yeah. Don't invent the wheel.
We have all sorts of different kinds of wheels. They're fine.
Right.
Yeah. Make it faster. Like make it. I don't. What I'm saying, like that's IBB. What like we didn't reinvent our industry. We just reinvented how we went about it.
Right.
So like how we were gonna create something that but too I don't want to go.
We put our own spin on it.
Yeah, like we're going to take a chance on being vulnerable. We're going to take a chance on telling our story instead of hiding behind the desk and behind the generic process and the generic conversations that don't mean anything to anyone.
And so I think that that's a huge, not only the tactical kind of what makes me different, makes me relatable, buy good advice. I can't overemphasize that, because I have the most amazing mentors in the world, I feel like, that have taught me just crazy amounts of good stuff. So those are good things. And then, I also like to kind of compare, because I'm I'm in business 10 years now in this digital marketing and like content marketing,
Congrats,
and
buddy.
which is craziness.
A decade of awesomeness.
And the first 5 years, I felt like it was like, the hardest education of my life. And then when I started to just listen, I really didn't do anything different except for like, okay, I'm going to stop thinking I know it all and just listen to the mentors that are still, thank God, investing in me. And then everything changed, like quadruple, in income, profit, everything. So from your guys' perspective, it sounds like, Gary took a swing at this and then it didn't work out. And James, you were doing your thing the normal, traditional way in your industry. And then,
Gary took a swing and it didn't work. Like, Gary took a swing and it didn't work how he planned.
Right.
So it was like, and it didn't work how I planned. My thing was I held on. I just kind of held on to the same same company, same firm that I was with. And Gary, so the cool part is we've been in the same industry. We've done, on paper we've been doing the same thing for, pretty much the same amount of time. But, and this is, so, Gary, you talk about being vulnerable and like, for those of you listening, so this is startup, and even, I remember I hit the 5-year mark, and like if you haven't hit 5 years, you haven't done anything. If you haven't lasted 5 years, you might as well have been around 5 days, because that 5-year mark, it's a magical mark. Don't kid yourself, and you have to do anything and everything in your power for that 5-year window if you want a chance at all.
Survive. Yeah.
But yeah. Gary and I right. Sorry, go ahead, Gary. Sorry.
No, I was just saying, if you want to make it, you gotta give yourself that first 5 years of going insanely hard. That's all I wanted to say. And it's the thing is, like, Gary and I are still around because we fought and clawed and failed. But again, yeah. And for those of you listening that are kind of on the ledge of being ready to quit, and just down in the dumps, Gary, I'm gonna have you share this story, but I want to say we're probably 3 years into our business, and again, if you go run your business every day, and say the industry's telling you this, and your peers are telling you that, and your management's telling you this, and your corporate headquarters is telling like your support team in corporate is telling you this, like, and the only thing that keeps coming to your head is there's got to be a better way, then there is. And guess what? You go with your gut. Like that whole IBB stuff, like we went with our gut as to like, okay, no one's telling us to do this, but I feel like there's got to be a better way, and I feel like this is it. But I remember pulling out of where I lived, and I lived a mile from the office. I literally bought my house specifically to keep it. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's the thing.
So you can walk if you sell your car.
Don't buy a house 2 hours away from your office if you're trying to run a business. So, but but I remember pulling out of my development onto the street, and just another day. It wasn't anything too crazy, but just the stress and the rejection and just the constant battles that every single day was. I thank you, Mom and Dad. I've been an avid seatbelt wearer, and
they taught you well.
Huh? Yeah, you know what I'm saying. So like I always like, oh no, I don't have a seatbelt, So I pulled out and I realized, again, it's just me in my car, it's me and my thoughts, and I'm like, oh, I didn't put my seatbelt on, and with not even thinking about it, it just the thought that popped into my mind subconsciously was, would it be so bad to die today? And like, I want to go back in time and punch myself in the face and be like, you
in
idiot.
The face, right?
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, well, I'll make sure I get my seatbelt on first, and then I'll punch myself in the face. But like, but you know what I'm saying? It's like, we've all been there where it's like, I can't go on. Like, it just, maybe if it ended, it'd be better. And
it wouldn't be.
Those of you listening, like, it's not. It never will be. Like, you have to survive what you're going through, and it's like it's not going to end. Life's not going to just say, you know what, I'm going to give you a free pass.
Yeah, you have to endure all the bad times to get to the other side. I remember.
And Gary, would you say the bad times are most of the time? I'm being serious. Like, bad times are most of the time.
No, you have to survive all of the time. Like, I just want to add it real quick in there, a similar story. When I was heading to that same exact office, I had those same exact attitudes as James was feeling, and I had my seatbelt on. However, there were two sets. There were two sets of railroad tracks that I crossed over every single day to get to my office, and I remember things weren't going as planned. My personal life was in shambles because my girlfriend that I had been dating for 7 years broke up with me for the 90th time, and and it's just like in a really, really bad place. My personal life was in shambles. I felt like I was out of control, and my professional life was suffering as well. And I remember going over those tracks and going, I'm not going to look. I'm just going to go. And then just see whatever happens, happens. Whatever's supposed to happen is supposed to happen. And, like, that's just, like, a really bad, it's a very dark place to go back and revisit. But, again, you know, Gary Caladukin today wants to go back and, you know, we'll bring it back to the drop kicks, but I want to drop kick my old self in the face. Like, and I do a very good drop kick. You have to endure through the worst of times to give yourself the opportunity and the chance to see what it might be like if you get to the finish line. But you have to go through it.
Yeah. Wow. That's a good message, because I think that entrepreneurship is lonely, and life is lonely, because I've had those dark moments where it's like everything, I went from like top of the mountain to being, you know, days away from being homeless in like within a 90-day period. So you feel like, wow, I'm king of the world. And you turn around and you're like, I have no world. And so those are just dark times. And it's like, I think you're completely right. I think that the problem is, like, if either you start out in such a bad place that you have to endure that to get to the good part, or maybe I had accidental success early on, and so I didn't understand or value it, and so I lost it, and there was no meaning to it. And then, you know, you come back to realize, you know, you go through what are obviously character building times in life to get you to where you're valuable. And I think that something else that kind of swirls around in my mind when I have these conversations, or when I have these conversations with myself, which happens all the time, is that we can't expect success or value or the income we want or the girlfriend we want or the family we want or the house we want or the life we want when we really aren't a person of value. And like, nobody wants this. Yeah. I don't think I wanted to hear that at 19 or 21 years old.
Yeah, it's not because you're a bad person.
It's just the way it goes.
You haven't had the time
to become valuable. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's the same punk kid Schleicher out of college. Like,
exactly.
Yeah, give me that salary job, and I'm gonna boss people around because
right. I deserve $250,000 a year because I went to college.
Right?
Right.
Like, geez,
and
I know what I'm talking about.
Yeah. So I think that unfortunately, human nature, society, just like the way things are, I don't think there's a shortcut or even a realistic excuse for it. Is that we want to be the $1 million man, but we don't want to invest $1 million of time or money or energy. And so
you want to do the $1 billion amount of work.
right. And so I appreciate you guys sharing like those really dark moments, because I think I'll admit too, I've had some, shameful moments where it's like, years ago, I drank too much coming home from the bar, and I felt the same way. I'm like, who cares? Like, who cares what happens? Because it's like there's nothing good going on, and I feel like I've slaved day and night for years, and my quote unquote friends of the time have left me, and I've had people stick me for money, and my family doesn't understand me, and like all these things are going on, and it's like you just don't know. It's hard to see a reason why beyond that moment, but I agree with you guys. For everybody listening, you feel like you have nothing left, and in some senses, that's like I get it. I almost say like that may be true, but what's happening in that moment is like the foundation is being built, and the relatability is being built, and the investment, like that micro daily investment of like survival, learning, improving the skill set, becoming a better business person, just like running every day makes you a better runner, wrestling every day, even the days that you get punched in the face and you don't get paid, you still become a better wrestler. It's like after years of that, and unfortunately, you guys mentioned something really interesting, which is, proven to be true, and like that I subscribe to and believe in, is that unfortunately, no matter what, you have to put in your 10,000 hours. And you guys both said you've got to do your 5 years and survive it, and then everything clicks. Mm-hmm. So, the rule, and like from Malcolm Gladwell, from The Outliers, if nobody's read that's listening, you have to read that. You have to put in your 10,000 hours, and then you put in your 10,000 hours, and like in the moment, you don't realize it, but everything starts to click. And for you guys, what happened? Because James, you're smart enough, or you take the action to do it, which is a huge part of smarts and intelligence and success. Is like you talk to the guy, and then you said, "I'm going to buy you dinner wherever you want," which is a big gamble when you were a kid and have no money.
You got to seize the moment. I mean, like that's an opportunity. It's like I don't give a crap about money, and that's something me and Gary talk about all the time. Is like we're not money motivated. Like we're not like Granted, like we would love to have a Batmobile one day, but if we don't, like we'll live. You know what I'm saying? So, but but we are, we are just, motivated by just the sheer fact that we want to help people, and it just. Time out. Where was I going with this? Was it the outlier?
You want to tell them that we want to build people up and their businesses up.
Gabe, what? Oh my gosh, we're not money motivated.
We're not money motivated, but we want to build up like people.
Right. So
oh
you.
Oh my god, dude.
No, you're good.
My god.
We're good. So
I had something amazing
too.
Something
profound to say. That's okay. I do too. Once a year. No, just kidding.
It blew my mind, and it just left.
So anyway, so you're on the plane and you have this branding moment, and then you're like, and then you're like, I'm gonna.
Oh,
invest.
I know. Sorry. We're gonna time out. I'm gonna circle back. Ready?
Go ahead.
I know it. So, So with the buying lunch or buying dinner, or whatever, opportunity to me that's the number one thing that I have never let slip. You can't have them all, but I've been viciously seeking opportunities, and never saying no to an opportunity. Because Gary and I are not money motivated. We would love to have our Batmobile. We would love to have our Bat Cave that our wives would for sure shut down. But the main thing is opportunity. Every day we see the world as an opportunity. Every day we see a potential relationship with a human being as an opportunity that you never know where it's going to take you. And you never, what I'm saying? Like some of the most influential and some of the most powerful relationships we have were all random. But
Yeah.
our love for people, our care for them, and again, being opportunity motivated, just like, hey, I don't know what's going to happen, but I might learn something. Hey, I don't know what's going to happen, but hey, they might need my help, or they might know someone who needs my help, or I might know someone who can take their career, their business to the next level. You know what I'm saying? So it's like you just got to, people.
You got to put
People
yourself
don't.
in a position and give yourself a chance to see the
Successful.
opportunity
Yeah.
and so you can grab it, you know? Like,
And that's what like the
you got
rest
to
of
allow yourself.
you can't win unless you step into the ring.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
Great. So yeah, that's great advice. I would say there's two things that I always like hammer into people that come and say like, I want to hire you as a consultant. I'm like, are you sure? Because when you hire me, I'm really tough on you. But the two things that I tell people when they do hire is like, number one, take action. Don't come back to me next week and talk to me about all the excuses about how you didn't do anything. If you didn't take action, I'm just going to say, okay, I told you last week what you should take action on. So I completely, buy into that. And then the other thing is, I always preach to people validate with dollars. Like real ideas always have dollars attached. And so what I find like interesting about this whole thing is like, to be honest, a lot of the time when I hear, oh, I'm a branding person, or I have a great brand, or I'm a branding agency, I think that's total.
You have a marketing degree and you couldn't get a job.
Hey, I didn't say that, but I think like marketing is total crap. I mean, a lot of the time, I'm a branding expert. Like, okay, so show me what that means, and nobody can bring
Show
it
what
to
you've branded.
right.
Yeah.
And like nobody can bring that
YouTube videos, and this is what they said. So
right. And I don't. And although I have a brand, I have a couple brands, and like I have achieved some level of success with it. It's only been from the 10,000 hour rule. It's not from any genius. So when I tell somebody that's working with me or that comes to me for advice, I'm always like, well, show me the money, basically. I say like, if your idea is valid, then the dollars will follow. We'll follow that. And so for you guys, I believe in your brand, and that's why we're having this conversation. So tell me the difference between you struggle and you learn and you invest your 10,000 hours. So now you kind of know what you're doing. Because I tell people like I have, I finally have like almost 40,000 hours in the industry, and I kind of know what I'm doing. So like I may have a good idea once a week, which is great. So you put in your time, but then you kind of achieve or overcome, or you seize that you're always viciously seeking opportunities, which is a great way of looking at it. And you have this conversation, and then you're like, okay, IBB is the brand. What happened from that moment to today, from from like a dollar standpoint, from a success standpoint? Because I think a real brand is explosive. So I don't need to know what your paycheck is.
To be clear.
But to what's the difference?
So February 17th, 2013. That was the day of the All-Star game. So lucky for me, I have like a national event that I can go back to and be like, what day was it? But our business has pretty much very close to tripled at this point.
Wow.
And
the team IBB started in March of 2016. Team IBB.
The Team IBB, the IBB videos, that started in June or July. Like, but just from the very beginning. But that's the thing too is like, Gabe, to your point when you're like, hey, do these 5 things. Why are you coming to me if you're not going to listen?
Right.
Right. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, Gary and I, we go to Gabe Arnold, we go to Constantine Holly, we go to Rick Sheezer, we go to Zach Young, and we don't say, hey, I was thinking about this, but, I'm not sure if I should do it, and then they tell us, or you tell us what to do, and then we're like, well, I just don't know. Like, no, shut up, go do it. You know what I'm saying? Like, Like I remember the first time, like Constantine and my buddy Zach Young from college, he's like hashtag IBB. I'm like, first off, what's a hashtag? You know what I'm saying? Like, because I had zero clue. Yep. And then I'm like, all right, so and again, we all going back to generational stuff. Like, I fought Snapchat forever. I fought I had disbanded social media. And Zach Young, my buddy Zach Young's like, oh, Schleicher, you are missing the boat, man. Like, that social media is going to be the only thing that matters. And I'm like, I don't understand, but I did it because I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna hashtag IBB. Everyone's gonna defriend me. Everybody's gonna make fun of me. I'm saying like my business is gonna go under because of this stupid hashtag IBB. Yeah. But what happened was when Constantine Holly said IBB, I didn't, first reaction, what does that mean? What is IBB? Mm-hmm. So to me, the success of a brand and the point of a brand is Gary and I don't go around telling people what we do. People come around asking us what we do. And it's via the IBB, you know what I'm saying? Like the IBB, the random people all the time. What's IBB? And then now half of them regret that they said it because it's like, oh God, I didn't want to know. I'm so glad I didn't want to know your life story. Yeah, I'm sorry. Your mom had a rough time. Yeah, my bad. Geez, but it changed
the game. People are messaging us on Facebook too. They message us on Facebook. They seek us out. They're like,
what the heck is this IBB thing?
What is it?
Yeah, what's this IBB thing? I need to know. I want to know what it is that you do because it looks like you're having a lot of fun. And it's like, well, we are.
Wow.
Yeah. I mean, literally,
that's branding at its core.
We have. I mean, branding. Branding. People are like, I'm not sure exactly what you do, but I want to do business with you, and I want to give you all my money. And obviously, if we were, sleazeballs, if we were pieces of crap, then we'd be like, we'd go flee the country with their money. But that's the thing is like, you talk about the 10,000 hours. I always talk about you have to master your craft, and that's important, what you do. But no one cares. No one ever will care about what you do. No one's going to care about your product. No one cares about your service. So what you do
cares about
the
company that you work for.
It's gone. It doesn't matter. So the marketing is what you do, which is dead, doesn't do anything because people don't care about a company anymore. People don't care about a product or service. Everybody's all about who are you and why should I trust you?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And that's where with the IBB it's who we are. It's how we see the world and how we when you have a brand and when you're tied to that, when you're committed to that, when your heart and soul is wrapped around that logo or that story, decisions get real easy, real fast. There's no more hard decisions. It's just more what decision is in line with my vision and
with
my
that
mission.
vision.
With my existence. So,
you know
what I'm saying? So but two, you stop telling people what you do because no one cares, and they are never going to, because nobody wants to be sold on why they should talk to you.
Nobody wants to hear an elevator speech. They've heard it.
Mm-hmm.
They've been teaching it for years and years and years. It doesn't work. People know. Like when we go to these networking meetings, and everyone's like, "Well, I do this and I do that," and it's like, "Oh my God, like get me out of here." But people, like I want to know about that person and their family, and like what they're actually trying to do. What is the most exciting thing that you're gonna do in 2017? Let's hear it. That is more intriguing to me than whatever you do to pay the bills because, I don't resonate with that. You know what I mean?
Right.
So, like, I'm more interested in in the person. We're more interested in the people and the things that they have going on, because that's ultimately what we're out there to do, is help people build, on themselves and build whatever empire that they're trying to put together.
Yeah. That's good. Well, I feel
it's gotta be, I mean, consistency. Like, again, I know that you probably tell clients this all the time, is like every Monday you gotta post and hashtag you gotta, every Tuesday you gotta post. And you know what I'm saying? So that's the thing too. First thing Gary and I do when we wake up, so when you see, like, first off, for those of you, like, 4 a.m., if you can get up 4 a.m. at least a couple of days during the week and get the day going, you are unstoppable. You are unstoppable because no one's awake to stop you. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not a matter of like, a pipe dream of I'll be unstoppable. Like, literally, no one's awake. You can do whatever you want.
Oh,
yep.
You know what I'm saying?
You know what? And that's exactly right. And right now in this podcast, we're going to start up the hashtag IBB 4 a.m. Society right now.
IBB 4S, baby. IBB 4S. 4S. So the 4th Hour Society. Yeah.
I'm joining.
There's like 12 4 a.m. clubs online, so we can't take that. Apparently
this
that's
is the
taken 12
IBB
times.
version. It's going to be better.
So the IBB 4th Hour Society, IBB 4S. It's a crappy iPhone reference.
It's an iPhone and a Snapchat.
We'll work on it.
But you know what's actually pretty fun is, like, James and I put out a consistent message out there every single day of the week, Monday through Friday. We put out, like, motivational messages that we come across that, we think that other people would enjoy reading, on top of all the other things that we additionally put out there. But what's funny is James and I, without knowing this, we automatically challenge each other because we're so competitive. And I'll wake up at 4:04, and I'll okay, I'm up, and then I'm going to post, I'm going to get my post out there. I'm going to Snapchat and put the time out there so everybody knows that I was actually up. It's not like a scheduled thing.
We the human beings are up at 4, not our automatic posts.
Yeah, not our, Hootsuite or whatever, I don't know, whatever the apps are, but it's actually us posting. But it's funny because if I get up at 4:04, sometimes I'll see James and he's posting at like 4:02, and I'm like, oh man,
gotcha.
I lost today. He got me, exactly. So that's the kind of like culture that we kind of built, and I think that's one of the keys to our success. Is that we constantly drive and lift each other and challenge each other, and it's just like little things like that. Like, he beat me by 2 minutes, so I'm going to beat him tomorrow.
And to building the brand, like, my buddy Zach, and it was like, I'm like, what do I post? What am I going to post with this? I'm not just going to post hashtag IBB. He's like, well, you're a real motivational guy. Post motivational quotes. And I'm like, come on, man. Like, people are like, stop posting that stuff, man. It's annoying, But, what you got to realize too with your brand, it's like a heat-seeking missile for the people that are the best fit for you. The heat-seeking missile for the right client. You don't want a bunch of customers that don't believe in you, that are, you don't want someone to sign up for what you do, because what you do is replaceable. Like, what you do is debatable, right. And what you do is, they can price shop what you do. You can't tell me that, Gabe Arnold,
Target.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, I want to work with Gabe Arnold. I don't even, and that's the thing is, like, I know you do the digital marketing. I know you do the same, but like, there's so much, like, you do so much that you can't really, unless you are in that industry, unless you are that actual person doing the work, like, you can't truly comprehend what everyone else is doing, like what exactly do they do. But that consistent message. So, for example, who you are. Forget what you do. It's who you are. So those motivational quotes, that's who Gary and I, that's who we are. You know what I'm saying? But, too, like, we don't wake up motivated every day, because, like I said, most of the time is a bad time when you're in business, because you're getting beat up, so, but we're up. we're posting that motivational quote. So we are seeking positivity. We are seeking motivation. So when we post that, no matter what was going on and whatever bad attitude we had waking up, maybe we had a bad dream, or the wife took away our Batman toys or whatever. But we now are in the right frame of mind to face the day, to face the world, and to give it all we got. But for other people, what does your brand stand for? Post about that, hashtag about it, but you will never see Gary Kaladukin and James Schleicher without an IBB article of clothing unless it is completely inappropriate. You know what I'm saying? And so, again, that was another accident. So going with it, having an idea and just going with it and embracing it. I was like, I'll get the logo on a polo and a jacket. So I wanted 2 IBB articles of clothing. And then I go to the vendor that I knew, and it's like, well, the minimum's 12. So I was like, okay. Again, don't waste money. Don't be dumb. I just went around and I'm like, these are the 10 articles of clothing that I wear the most. And I got IBB put on them. And, it's just, again, I didn't know, but I was like, again, you know in your gut when you're right. I'm like, you know what, if this is my business and this is my brand and this is my story, like, I probably should wear this all the time. And when I would wear it, people would ask. I'm like, wait a minute. So instead of me having to beg someone to listen about what I do, now they're asking. They're asking because of these 3 stupid letters and this little mini flame. That's the thing is, I truly believe if you want a successful brand, you need to become it. You need to say, I'm selling my soul to my brand. And it's not even so much you're selling that brand is your soul. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're not selling your soul to the brand. That's a wrong way to put it, but your heart and soul is the brand. So, and Gary comes on board, he puts on an IBB shirt, shows up to Lake Kids Biz or Lake Communicators or a chamber meeting or whatever. Now, people don't have to, again, nobody knows what you do. Nobody really cares. But they're like, oh, he must do what James does. He must be like James. You know what I'm saying? And that's where, again, you've got to guard your brand because, I trust Gary wholeheartedly. Like, that was a big step for me to bring on a business partner, and especially for someone to wear, wave the banner of my heart and soul and my sweat and tears of work. So, but it makes it fun. You know what I'm saying? Like, no, that's the reality. It makes it fun. Like, me and him, we feel like Santa Claus every day because we're out slanging Team IBB gear everywhere, and then people are wearing it, and people appreciate. Again, it's not.
That's
sorry, go
fun.
ahead. I'm on a rant.
No, it's all right. No, I love it. I swear I could listen to you all day. I do listen to you all day.
I know. I'm sorry. I apologize.
No, but that's the greatest compliment is when our friends, our family, our clients, people we know, we have given them a small article of clothing and they decide whenever they want to wear it. And we just ask them to hey, whenever you're wearing that, take a picture and share it to our social media and hashtag IBB Spot. And we have had such a tremendous response with how much we have given. And, everyone likes it so much. Like Bill with Osteo Strong, he was at Tony
Osteo
Robbins.
Strong Willoughby. Get to Osteo Strong Willoughby. Check it out. It's an amazing place.
Yes.
You did a Tony Robbins thing, and he's rocking Team IBB. He's at Tony Robbins.
That was
Andrew Samich, CPA. He's amazing. Tax season around the corner. Call Andrew Samich. But he's like posts a picture. So again, people are just taking
On
the
top
time.
of a mountain.
He's in Lake Tahoe. He's on Lake Tahoe, like on is it Heaven
mountain.
Hills or Heavenly Hill, and he's rocking a Team IBB hoodie. You know, just kind of like so like it makes you feel good because it makes you like, at least for us, like that's the ultimate stamp of approval is the people we love, the people we respect, the people that we go to war for every day. They're wearing our team colors. You know what I'm saying? They're wearing our team.
Yeah, they're with us.
Banner.
They are with us.
And so, but you know, and Gabe, is this helping? Is this making sense? Like,
no, this is great, guys. That's it. And I think that's like something else that I noticed was, you know, James was, and this is normal. So this isn't a critical thing, but James James figured it out and was like, he was like the lone warrior out there, which is great. And he stuck with it. And then Gary shows up and then it's exponentially better. And I think that like in branding, that's the way it goes in a company and building a tribe and building people around you. You kind of have to go it alone until you get a couple fans or a couple followers. And then you get to the point where you're a tribe and you actually have a following. Yep. And you have to keep believing. You have to keep believing in yourself, even when people think you're the crazy kid with the weird, logo.
But oh my God! No, and Gabe, that's where for everyone listening, if you the
people
branding,
think you're the crazy person.
Yeah, I am the crazy person. I am, and that's the thing.
Embrace.
Yeah.
Be the crazy person, because being the normal mediocre person never felt good anyway. You know,
and like you said,
mediocre no one ever
worked.
had fun being mediocre. You
and
know?
like you said, you tripled. I mean, and everybody.
That's the thing is like the money, the revenue,
the results are there. Yep.
We tripled our money, and we like times infinity how much fun we have. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, it's a struggle every day trying to fix all the screw ups of people who don't care about our clients and don't care about their well-being. You know what I'm saying? Like, so that's always a struggle, but I mean, like, we're having lots of fun. And, you know, if you remember anything at all, marketing is trying to sell what you do to a customer. And customers aren't loyal. Customers don't care. Customers aren't going to, they're not going to wear your team color, your team banner, or whatever. But branding doesn't give a crap about customers. It's building a community of people who want that have that commonality. But no, you build a community, and that's what we did. We didn't build, we're never looking for customers. We look at two things. One, friends made. Two, lives changed. And that's the only two things we track. And, like everybody kind of has their own system, but like that's it. That's how we have two reasons to live, and that is to make friends and change lives. And, the branding,
but that's kind of what branding kind of helped unlock for us. Yeah. Is it's not about the numbers or anything like that. Like, get all that stuff out of your head. That is not what you're here to do. So it just, again, back to the decisions. Everything that we decide, every move that we make, is it in line with what IBB is envisioned?
Right.
Yeah.
That's excellent. And I think I gotta say, like, I'll be honest, I reached out because I was like, these guys are kind of cool, and like we've hung out a little bit, and you guys seem like you know what you're doing, and this IBB thing is like going viral locally here, which I'm always interested in because
it's cool, man. It's wild, man.
Yeah.
It's
surreal. You guys have just like nailed it, and based on what little I knew about your backgrounds, I was like, these guys didn't go to college to be branding experts, is my guess.
Don't go to college for branding; it'll ruin you. Like,
they seem like pretty normal guys, and they're crushing it. And I gotta say, the time we've spent together tonight has really deepened my understanding of who you guys are. And I gotta say, like, I mean, if it ever, for everybody listening, I mean, this is, throw away your books, throw away, stop watching YouTube, re-listen to this, take notes, reach out to these guys.
Anything anyone needs, man. I mean, whatever you guys. I mean, we love this stuff.
We're very accessible.
Yeah.
We didn't go to school for it. We didn't read a book about it.
But you nailed it.
We had an opportunity. No, we had an opportunity of smart people who did read about it, who did go to college for it, and they said, "Hey, James and Gary, do this." And we didn't ask questions. We didn't fight. We didn't fight. Don't fight the experts. Just go. Just do.
Yeah.
And then, but you make it your own. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like we just continue to make it our own. And we're, you got to be constantly evolving, but it's just you have to just go do it.
Yeah.
And the brand is inside you, and that's the thing. I always had IBB. IBB was always with me, but it took Constantine Holly having that conversation to dig it out. And you need, people just need to dig it out. And to Gabe, I mean, the close it up. Gary, you want, like, we have our 3 L's, so I hope it helps. So Gary, I'll let you share that. The 3 L's is building a brand.
And then tell everybody how they can get a hold of you, because number 1, they should, come work with you, but number 2, they should hire you for branding consulting.
Only if they hire you first, Gabe.
That would be great.
You want to hire us?
I don't know about that. But
so,
anyway,
we're a package deal. Buy in bulk.
So how can we connect with you? Because everybody should be working with you guys on this. So.
Well, we got all sorts of different ways you can really find us. Anywhere on social media, you can look up IBB Gary. You can find Gary Kaladukin. Friend me on Facebook, Snapchat, Twitter.
Yeah, IBBJ.
Same thing for James.
Yeah, search hashtag Team IBB, hashtag IBB Spotted, hashtag IBB Fortunate, hashtag IBB Top 3.
IBB Top 3.
TeamIBB.com, right?
Yeah, TeamIBB.com. Yeah. We're working on the TeamIBB.com. That's going to be, stay tuned for that. We're working on that to try and, that's going to be more our landing page, I think, for the future.
For everything.
But
you can go to IBBJames.com, which is James's success blog, which is excellent.
I haven't updated in a while because we've been check out our YouTube channel. Our YouTube channel, YouTube's good. What we love to do. So
check out IBBGary.com, which is my blog about being a first-time dad, and that's actually been my favorite thing that I think I've done all year. On top, one of the things besides our videos and having fun with James, but this is my family and my daughter. She's just the most incredible thing, and I get so much out of it, and I'm hoping that people like James who are, entering in parenthood or parents that are out there get a little something out of it, because
I'll be your biggest fan,
a lot of fun. Yeah, man.
And like to circle back the 3 L's. I'm sorry. For those of you like, where do I start for a brand? Yeah. So Gary, go.
So the 3 L's: life, legacy, and logo. So you have to go into a deep, dark place. It might not be a deep, dark place. It might just be a regular dark place, but you have to do
with candlelight.
Searching. Yeah.
Gary's apartment with candlelight.
Exactly. So it has to be something that you can attach yourself to that resonates with you, and something that happened to you in your life. And then your legacy, it's going to be, what do you want to leave behind? When you ask yourself, did I matter? And at your funeral, what are people going to say about you? Are they going to say great things? Are they like, oh, James is a great guy, and he was always that first person to come up to me in a room, shake my hand, and help me out. Gabe was always somebody who was always there to answer my questions and do whatever. What kind of legacy, what kind of stamp and seal do you want to leave on the rest of the world? And then you take those 2 things, and then you get your logo. And then your logo is going to be you. That's going to be your heart. That's going to be your core. That's going to be your soul. And that, my friends, is how you're going to create a brand. So if you check out in a couple of weeks here, teamibb.com, we'll go into more detail, but 3 L's.
That's excellent. That's great advice, guys. So I feel like I should be cutting you a check here.
Hey, we'll take coffee. We'll take coffee.
Yeah. We'll take
coffee and peanut butter and jelly.
I will definitely buy you coffee or beer or dinner here soon, because this has been super valuable for me, and I know for everybody listening. I just applying this will make a huge difference for me. So,
yeah, but Gabe, thank you for doing that. Like I said, man, it's just kind of watching you do what you do has inspired us. But it's challenged us to raise the bar. It's challenged us to raise our, step up our game and be like, hey, Gabe's out doing these really cool things. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And like you said, circling back to you said, entrepreneurship and running a business is lonely.
Yeah.
And what you end up doing is, again, if you have to find those other entrepreneurs and business owners who see the world the way you do. And I think, that's where the three of us, at any moment, we can just pick up right where we left off here, and we're going to have great conversation. We're going to inspire each other. So, Gabe, I mean, the whole time I'm talking here, I'm like, why don't we have a podcast? Like, why? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
next week.
So that's it. You've stepped it up, and now, challenge accepted. IBB, Team IBB needs to step up and get on Gabe Arnold's level, or just
we are just trying to keep up with you. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Wow.
Thank you, man. This means a lot. And like I said, this started
awesome.
People who getting started. That's the hardest part, is getting started. Hardest part is the first 5 years. And like I said, you're not alone. And I think if there's anything that people listening is like, you're not alone, and who you are and why you exist is the most important thing, not only for you to succeed, but why other people are going to believe in you and why other people are going to rally around you when you need it most.
All right, fantastic. I am really excited that you were able to enjoy that second part of this wonderful interview with both James and Gary. And, if you want to learn more about them, definitely go to teamibb.com. They will have some updates there. I know they're doing some building and some updates there, but definitely check it out there. And you can check out the hashtag TeamIBB on any social media, and you'll also find those guys as well. But if you want to learn about branding, talk to them. If you want to learn about other things that they offer, definitely check them out. Two of probably the greatest guys that I've met in my recent past here, and just really enjoyed my time with them. So as always, thank you guys for listening. I hope this kind of a little bit of a different format this week and last week were valuable and helpful. If you've enjoyed the show, I would super appreciate a great rating on iTunes, and so you can kind of just give us some feedback there, and we will see you again next week. Are you looking to get started successfully? Today I want to invite you to join the Start Successfully Mastermind group. You can check it out by going to startsuccessfully.com/mastermind. There, I'll share all the details with you, and you can give it a try for just $1 for the first week. Inside the group, I'll share with you all the templates, all the details and strategies and everything that I'm doing to build out the new businesses that I'm working on, and you'll also get insider strategies and tips from our guests. So go ahead and check it out, startsuccessfully.com/mastermind, and we'll see you on the inside.
Thanks for listening to the Start Successfully podcast. To connect with Gabe Arnold or with our guests and resources from today's show, please visit startsuccessfully.com.